What's up and welcome back? I'm John Stark from ActMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and this is the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I got this off of the Apple Store VOD because it's Lionsgate, and Lionsgate movies go to Stars still until that contract runs out. At least I don't know how long they have a contract, a distribution contract, but I know Lionsgate has separated from Stars, so it's not like they're necessarily going to renew the contract. But until such time, I know that if I wanted to watch it with audio description, I kind of have to. Until my screeners start coming in, which they will at some point. When I start getting submitted for the on the lists with the critics organizations I was accepted to over the summer. So maybe, but maybe I'll have to do this less. That'd be great. But yeah, I saw it was Lionsgate, and I was like, fuck. It's okay because it's Guy Ritchie, and I like Guy Ritchie. I've liked him since The Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which, yes, was actually the first Guy Ritchie movie that I saw before Snatch came out. I actually saw Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels thanks to video rental stores in time before Snatch came out. So I really enjoyed it. Bought it on DVD, own it on DVD. Snatch came out, really enjoyed that. Bought that on DVD, own that on DVD. And I have a couple other Guy Ritchie movies too, like Rock and Roll. I enjoyed that. Sherlock Holmes. He's kind of changed a little bit. His style is different. The way that he directs, it's hard to tell that it's a Guy Ritchie movie anymore. And it's not always a bad thing. I really enjoyed The Covenant. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant I thought was excellent last year. So I thought Jake Gyllenhaal was fantastic. Dal Salim was, I believe I had him as my runner-up for Best Supporting Actor of the Year. So yeah, I just a totally underrated performance from Dal Salim in that film. I thought he was terrific. I was like, why did Barkhad Abdi get all the attention? But then Dal Salim is like dragging Jake Gyllenhaal across the country. And everybody's like, I don't bother to learn your name, man. We don't know who you are. Um, so this is produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, which is I don't think they've worked together before, Guy Ritchie and Jerry Bruckheimer. So that made it interesting to me. And then this film just kind of like released in April and like nobody knew. It just kind of like what? This has an amazing cast to it. It's got Henry Cavill, Alan Ritchson, Henry Golding, Isa Gonzalez, Carrie Elways, Alexander Pettifer. I think it's Pettifer that's in it, not Ludwig. One of the Alexanders is in this. Um, it's got like Till Schweiger is in this. So there's several people in here that are absolutely at the top, making a great cast for him to work with. It's based on a true story, supposedly based on the story that would cause Ian Fleming to go on to write James Bond. Like the character in this that Henry Cavill plays goes on to inspire James Bond. So cool, right? I mean, isn't that cool? Like, I thought it was cool. Like the fact that it's actually based on a true story of this mission, Operation Postmaster, where well, you'll get it as the movie goes on. You'll get what Operation Postmaster is. It is a lot of setup. It's not necessarily as quick paced as you would expect a Guy Ritchie movie to be, but it was really enjoyable. It's sort of like The Covenant. It's like he's found this new beat to himself, and with with this film more so than The Covenant, and also with sort of like what he's doing with his Netflix The Gentleman, he's trying to bring back. It's like he's rewatching his old movies, Lock, Stock, and Snatch, and being like, what did I used to do that people really liked? And how do I bring that back? But he's like older and wiser, and he's learned lessons, and he's made different movies like Aladdin, and he and he can't totally do it, or he's afraid to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, or he's like, oh well, there was a certain place and time for that, so that wouldn't necessarily work in 2024. And I was like, I don't know that it wouldn't, man. I don't know that Tarantino has wildly changed his style. I think when you watch a Tarantino film, it kind of feels like a Tarantino film all the way through. From Reservoir Dogs to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you can kind of tell he's directing it. He hasn't really stylistically changed the way that he directs films, but Guy Ritchie sort of has as time has evolved. Even Michael Bay hasn't really changed. Ambulance, which starred Isa Gonzalez, also is a prime example of the fact that Michael Bay is still doing Michael Bay. So I don't know why Guy Ritchie really has evolved and evolved in a way where he can't necessarily get it back. Um, so I think that's maybe one of the biggest problems. If I had a problem with this film, is that I know Guy Ritchie is capable of more, and I feel like he's trying to get to it, and I don't know that he's gotten there uh, completely. With this film, I think he's just a little bit short. It's the difference between Lock, Stock, Snatch, and then like Rock and Roll. It's like I like Rock and Roll, but it's not the first two. I like the first Sherlock Holmes. Love the first Sherlock Holmes. I like the second one. So um, there's like little slight differences. This one to me feels more like we almost got there. The planning phases could have been cut down a little bit. It does have an ensemble cast, so it does need the time. I'm not going to fight the runtime, and I feel like the runtime was pretty much well used, except I always wanted it to be more action. I think the action scenes here are the best part of the film, and they're really well described by William Michael Redman. And here's the funny thing, I know it's him. There are no credits at the end of this. I stayed all the way to the end. I got nothing. It could be the copy on Apple. I don't think it's just the copy, but maybe it is. There are no credits on this. No company, no writer, no narrator. Luckily, I would recognize William Michael Redman's voice anywhere. Um, but it's very odd, but really well done. Lots of action sequences. I enjoyed the performances. It did get kind of jumbled. I kind of wish Alan Ritchson had just been allowed to do his thing instead of giving him an accent, because I felt like I lost him in this. I felt like it was hard for me to follow him because I'm so used to hearing him as Reacher and just like his normal American voice. I wish there was a character here that he could have just been the American, you know? um, I'm pretty good at following Henry Goulding's voice. I've heard him enough times. It's a nice sort of like elevated, smart British accent. Henry Cavill's voice is sort of specific. What I thought was interesting hearing Isa Gonzalez, because I did not know that this was her wheelhouse at all. I did not know. I don't know her that well as an actress, but she just seamlessly came into this film, kind of blew my mind. If anything, she kind of steals the movie for me. There's some scenes with her. There's a scene where she's trying to prove that she can basically hold her own with the boys and use like any weapon uh, of choice. And I just love that scene. And then she gets the grenade. And they're like, no. That was a great scene. Also, there is a fire version, absolute fire version. We need a category in the Oscars of best like cover or best like reimagining of a song. I fucking loved the Mac the Knife that is in here. When you get to the Mac the Knife part, it's got this thing and there's a drum beat to it, and I was like, damn, this is a great cover of Mac the Knife. Like, I wanted to independently listen to this cover of Mac the Knife outside of the film, like, so that I could have it uninterrupted and not like with the movie coming in and out of it. But that was a killer cover of Mac the Knife. It's taken in context. I don't know that it's necessarily an artist that it comes from, because it's literally being performed. Like, there's a scene that actually takes place where it's actually being performed uh, in the movie. So, but oh my god, like the choices were like the singer was making different choices, and there was such a cool beat to it, like a drum beat. I was in it. I loved the hell out of this movie. I thought it was great. Like, my only complaint is that I wanted less planning. Less talking, more action. The film opens up pretty strongly with sort of like a little like, ooh, what's going on here? And then it turns into an action sequence, and you're like, aha, I get it. And then like there's just a lot of talking here. Um, so I would have that would have been my only thing, is to tell Guy to go for it. He used to be really good at like whip cracks, like fast dialogue, just bam, 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 bam. It's just in and out. Um, and there's less of that here, which is that's the energy, man. Like, if you could find a way to capture that energy and put it into this film, I feel like this film is so close to being perfect. I know there's some people who didn't like it, or they found it a little bit tedious or boring, and it's like I enjoyed it. I did. And I'm kind of giving it a pass because I already sort of struggled with the amount of cast members that there are here, and trying to understand all of them, and like who they are as characters, instead of just people, instead of just like chess pieces moving on a board. Actually understand who they are as characters, because they're being played by well-known actors. So I really want to know who they are. um, so I feel like we do need that development time, but I feel like it's uneven, and I'm not sure I got all of it. Like I said, I really kind of feel like I lost Alan Ritchson here, which is very disappointing for me, because I really love where his career is going. And the fact that he was working with Guy Ritchie, I was all over this. I was like, two of my favorite rising stars right now, whose careers I'm highly invested in, are Alan Ritchson and Henry Golding. So the fact that they were included in this, I was all over it. I'm happy to see Carrie Elways starting to get better roles again. For a long time, I was like, what happened to Carrie Elways? Is he gone? Did he go away? Where'd he go? Uh, and he's starting to get some good roles back, which I'm a fan of. I like when Henry Cavill gets the right role, and this is the right role for him. Like, Mission Impossible is the right role for him. Man from Uncle, the right role from him. He's actually really good in espionage movies. He does occasionally get offered something that makes no sense. I don't really love him as Superman. He's not my favorite Superman. I don't hate him as Superman. But not my, he wouldn't have been my first choice, because I kind of recognize what he really seems to be good at is that kind of stuff. He would make an excellent Bond. I don't think he's going to get it, because I think he's aging up a little bit too much, and I don't think they want to go the same route, the same sort of like same type of thing that they've been doing before. Whoever the next James Bond it's going to be very different than what we've been doing. Unless he feels like he's almost too safe of a choice in many ways. So yeah, and Lisa Gonzalez. I'm not very familiar with her, but I was left very impressed. So this is a film I would definitely recommend. I enjoyed it. I might even watch this thing again, since I got it off of iTunes, so I can watch whenever I want. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this film. It's so close. It's so close to being perfect. This is a film where probably at the end of the year I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna feel it vibing, and I'm gonna know that I gave it an A minus. But I'm still probably gonna ink this in my top 25. Like, I feel that. I feel the fact that I can acknowledge that there are imperfects, like little things here that keep it, that are holding me back. But this is a really strong A minus. Like, there are films where I'm like, yeah, technically that's perfect, but I never want to see them again. And I give them an A, and I'm like, yeah, but I never need to see those films again. This one, I already want to see it again. I'm already like, yes, this was a great film. And that's a great feeling to have when you've just seen something and you're like, yes, done. I would do that again. Uh, but yeah, there are a couple little things that if I had 5 minutes with Guy Ritchie, I'd be like, can we do this a little bit? Can we change this? Can we move this? Can we maybe flip this? Like a little couple nitpicky type things. But this is, uh, I'm so glad Guy Ritchie's, because with The Covenant and with this, I feel like he's starting to get back on track, and I'm really happy for him. Um, One of my favorite directors, easily. I think he's got a lot of great stuff in his resume. He does have a couple things that just don't work. Absolutely don't work. He's a couple things in there that are just, you know. So I can't say universally, sort of like with Shyamalan. There are a couple things with Shyamalan I love. There are a couple things that are like, oh my god, dude, what are you doing? So yeah, I'm very supportive of this guy Ritchie Renaissance, and I hope it continues. So I'm giving the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare an A minus. Please watch it. It's great. I like it. It's fun. Nobody else watched it, and I'm giving it sort of like my stamp of approval. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.